we go. Alright guys, welcome back to the show. Let's go ahead and start this doohickey. Alright, so here we are looking at the YouTube comment picker. I went back to the old format today, and our winner is going to be Jerome Soto, or Jeremy Soto, not sure which. That Bitcoin has already been sent to you. Please enjoy. A lot of interesting things have gone on. It's been what? March, April, May, June, July, so about 4 months since my last video. A lot of things are going well, guys, so let's go ahead and get into it. Bitcoin doing extremely well right now. We're down from the previous high, which was 64,000. And my window is not letting me click it. There we go. Awesome. And we're going to talk about some of this price action in just a second here. Trading view. So I'm going to do this weird BTC. So we're going to do BTC to USD. There we go. Cool. And now we actually have the proper candles right now for that at the moment. As you can see, we've rocketed up for the moment with the candle all the way up above 40K, it looks like, on this chart. But, you know, we'll see what's going on here, and we'll see what the response will be from the market as we go through the week right now. Let's see, personally, what have I been doing? Let's go and get rid of those. I have been having fun with my bull run. Life has been great. Things are really cool, and I've just been cashing out a little bit here and there, maybe a couple percentages of a Bitcoin. But remember, I earn interest, so it's all going to come back. Life is good. Planning on moving soon. Things are just going extremely well. I have my vaccine for COVID. It's very weird to be doing well, you know, during the COVID times. I'm blessed, and I'm very happy about that. So let's go ahead and jump into what I kind of think is happening right now. So as you all saw, you know, over the past while here, we went from our highs of around, what, 64K-ish, all the way down to about, what, 27, 28? Yeah, 27, 28 for the lower of the candles here. And all that's really happening is that you have several large banks that were late in getting into the market, and they kind of have a choice. And by the way, they're late. They probably knew that Bitcoin was going to do well, but they're late because I believe they have to go through a whole bunch of processes to adopt something on their balance sheets. So what ended up happening is we got all the way to May, and they said we need some way to, you know, get Bitcoin. Well, you have a couple options. One of them is to just buy at super high prices, or you can take other people's Bitcoin by using the whole toolkit that the whales have that'll probably be cheaper. So what are they going to do? Well, the scapegoat is Elon Musk. And so going on Saturday Night Live and calling it a hustle and all that fun stuff was the perfect excuse to drop the market. And remember that hedge fund managers and all that have the fiduciary responsibility to make profit for their customers, or to guard their money, basically. And so with that, you know, when there's enough fear in the market, and a lot of people don't, essentially we're seeing huge institutions act like beginner traders because they don't always know what's going on. Some of the larger, more planted whales do, but some of the newer ones don't. So they're just going to sell. They want to make absolutely sure they're not going to be the ones holding the bag at the end of the day. So we have the massive sell-off going from late May all the way down, into June. And June, we're just going sideways, and this is where the games start happening. So, you know, I'm not one to use leverage while trading. I'm not a trader, I'm an investor. And so I don't have a high risk tolerance for losing all of my money in one day because I made a silly choice. You know, I don't trust my trading skill enough to use leverage and things like that. So what happens is a lot of people were using leverage, and they may have put it down as low as, like, you know, $28,000, $27,000, which seemed safe at the time when we're all the way over here, right? Rising up into the 50s and the 60s. Well, the problem with that is that these exchanges and a lot of the analysts and whales understand that people are using leverage. So when they do that, they go, Well, if we can just knock them off their rocker, we can get that Bitcoin on the cheap. And then the exchangers are happy because they get fees for trading and they get fees for liquidating people. So they're happy with that. It's not a big deal to them, right? And we have two things. We have the long squeeze, which is up here when we were at the 60K mark or so. So they trashed entire positions to get, we're talking billions and billions of dollars, right? And they did that multiple times. So Bitcoin would hit a low, people would set a new long position, and then they get it again. And they did that multiple times. That's what most of this volatility is them just going, oh, we see it, bam. Oh, we see it, bam. Oh, we see it, bam, right? What's happening now is that now that faith in the market is finally kind of slowly gone down, people have been putting short positions. So what do? They knock out the short positions. So the moral of the story is dollar cost average and hold. Not investment advice, just kind of what's happening in front of us right now. And so it's been an interesting market. I'm doing extremely well because I've been in for over 4 years, so life is good. And, you know, it is what it is. Here's another look at the liquidations that happened over the past few months. So this is May. This is a huge one that happened in May. How much is that? That is $3.18 billion liquidated. Earlier in May, that's $1.8 billion liquidated. And we have more of these long liquidations. Now, the farther we go, you start to see more shorts appear when the price rocks up, right? Well, here's the biggest one, and this happened in the last month or so. This 726, wait, am I reading this wrong? Oh yeah, there we go. 728 million in shorts liquidated. You know, just like a week or so ago, 192 longs liquidated on the other side. Again, the moral of the story is don't bet on margin. Don't bet with other people's money. Just invest. There's a huge difference between investing and gambling. And this is just straight up gambling. People who use leverage often have a way to make the market do what they want, and that's why they use leverage. It's kind of like when they had like a bank having all of the subprime mortgages and they just kept bouncing it against its own leverage. So either they got a good bet and won, or it failed and they cashed out on the leverage that they were shorting it, right? So that's kind of what happened during the 2008 downturn. Looking at some of the charts that I made before, why is the price going sideways? Well, you know, we have some huge whales in the room right now. We're talking $7 trillion. That's hard to conceptualize. Like when you have $1 trillion, you can kind of sculpt the world around you. That's how many resources you have in our society right now. And the main tools that they have, again, are buying over the counter and selling on the spot market. Meaning, when they buy over the counter, the price doesn't immediately go up. So what happens is that the over-the-counter markets have to sell out of their Bitcoin and buy more from the market that you and I, retail investors, would buy from. When we buy on like Coinbase or a Gemini or whatever exchange you like to use, the price is immediately affected electronically by what we do, right? When you buy over the counter, it's not electronic. They're handing them, for example, a hardware wallet or an address or some other way of circumventing the instant price change, and they're loading up. They're loading up in the millions and billions on Bitcoin today, right now, as I speak, as we all sleep. That's what's happening right now. Other games they can play are transferring a bunch of Bitcoin to an exchange, right? Not even putting a trade order down, and then moving it off the exchange. And this scares a crap ton of people because they think, oh, the whale's gonna sell. I need to sell, so they sell, and the whale ends up buying, and then we're all like, okay, cool, whatever. Let's see, other ways. We have futures. Futures where you can literally put a huge bet against the price. Like, hey, I got $1 million. Let's put it, I'm gonna say Bitcoin's going down to $1,000. Bam. And that affects several things. That affects the minds and sentiment of people, right? So fight or flight. And people are like, whoa. It also affects the electronic traders that are trading the spot market. So again, the market that you and I trade, it affects the automatic traders there. So if a computer reads an article or a futures report or some form of negative leverage against Bitcoin, it's going to sell more because it has an algorithm programmed to do that. These are all things that are happening in the market right now. Not to mention that we still don't have a Bitcoin ETF. Now, technically, Bitcoin doesn't need it because, again, its fundamentals are super strong. It's scarcity, censorship resistant. It has the best security of all the blockchains, and it's undebasable. It is what it is. However, by doing futures before exchange traded funds, which is what an ETF is, they have allowed people to bet against Bitcoin and not be able to put in the kind of money that would prop the market up. So this is the perfect environment for someone who wants to load up on Bitcoin to do so in a way that won't affect the market, even if they put billions in, because they've stacked the deck against a very tough asset. Now, if this were any other asset, it would do worse. If this were gold, it would do worse, because gold can be fudged three or four spots from when it is pulled out of the. It can be fudged when it's being mined, when it's being smelted, when it's being sent to the banks and the exchanges, and in the futures. Whereas Bitcoin, it's the derivatives at the futures that are the only thing that can really be fudged. Even with all the miners leaving China, the hash rate will just adjust. The difficulty will adjust to the hash rate of Bitcoin. So they can't really stop them mining. And a lot of them are going to Texas, so it's all kind of coming back. And it's very interesting to see what happens. As far as the ESG concerns, that's all FUD. And we all know it. When you have like 50 other industries that use more power than Bitcoin, it's just ridiculous. The banking system alone uses twice the amount of power of the Bitcoin network. Let's not talk about Christmas lights and other wasteful industries that don't provide much value, to people in general. Again, this was my chart from a long time ago about the BTC price and what's actually happening. Again, we have the bears again, large whales, gorillas in the room, shaking the price down. Shorts, we just talked about those. So they are shorting the market by betting against it with futures. Cash settled derivatives. So again, you can put $1 million bet against the price of Bitcoin, and then it's not that you aren't actually interacting with Bitcoin or buying it or selling it. You're just betting against it, and then it settles in cash again. So that's like a double negative. Miners have not been selling as much recently, which is good. Maybe they were preparing to leave China, and that's why they were selling before. Who knows? Spoof trading. So we kind of did what I described before, was a little bit of that, moving it to the exchange, but sometimes they do put the order down to sell, and then they just remove it. And that scares people even more into selling, yada, yada, yada. Again, this is why I don't trade. There's a lot of stuff going on that I don't want to deal with. I just invest and try to make decent choices. Then we have a lot of fun. If you read a lot of articles on YouTube or anything, not YouTube, on Yahoo or anything like that, it's just such a gossipy, silly mess with a lot of lies and half-truths thrown in there. It's just terrible, terrible. And that's just kind of what's happening right now. Then we have, right now, basically what happened this week was the shorts on that were holding Bitcoin down got liquidated because we went basically up to 40K. Again, that's a win for exchanges and anybody who profits off of the oscillation of the price. Good for them. Good for us who are holding it. Awesome. We'll see what happens now. There may be a response. We shall see. But anyway. The price of Bitcoin shoots up when over-the-counter desks have to go get their coins. A lot of things like that happen. It's crazy. And so it's just a good time right now. It's a good time to be a Bitcoin holder. Again, I'm not going to be putting any lump sums into Bitcoin at this point. It's still pretty high. I'm just kind of enjoying the side income that it provides. Ethereum seems to be an interesting thing to get into right now. The problem is that I just heard that they might be delaying one of their patches, which is dumb because we were all waiting for like August 4th through August 10th. But we'll see how that clears up pretty soon here. But there's a lot of interesting stuff. And just waving hi to the one person watching right now. Hope you're doing all right. A lot of interesting things going on. And we'll see what happens in the future here. It's just an exciting market. It's an exciting time to be investing. And I'm just blessed to be able to do it. So I hope that, you know, everything gets better and this virus just goes away. It's not going to go away overnight, sadly, and we'll just see what happens. But yeah, guys, anyway, kind of digressing here. I'll probably be changing my location over the next 2 months. That'll be very exciting. Congratulations, Jeremy Soto. And I'll probably be doing more videos. I probably won't be doing any more giveaways just because it just kind of, it's a nagging voice that makes me not want to make videos. So, all right, guys, I'll be talking to you